everyone, so today is another decluttering slash organizing slash cleaning video. I'm going to be taking you with me as I spring clean my pantry. This is something that I've been putting off filming because I wanted it to get a whole makeover. I was going to paint it and do all these fancy baskets and do the whole thing. But given the current circumstances of the world, it is no longer a priority. I really just needed to get in there and get it all cleaned out for spring because bugs start happening and I'm not trying to live that life. Get any crumbs or anything in little containers, get it all cleaned out. I wanted to take inventory of what I have in my pantry, you know, and prepare not for doomsday, not hoarding, but prepare for the advice given that if you or someone in your family or household start getting a fever or feel sick or whatnot, that you quarantine for 14 days. I just want to make sure that we have enough food for that. Also, one last thing, if you've never been here before for my cleaning videos, I do a voiceover style video. So I will be talking through the whole thing to tell you kind of what's been working for me, what I used, kind of what I did as the process is going on. If you don't like that, you can totally hit the mute button and rock out to your favorite music and just watch the whole process. Doesn't offend me. I just wanted to put that out there for those of you who are new here. And yeah, anyways, hope you enjoyed this video and we're just gonna jump right into it. Before I start spring cleaning my pantry, I wanted to show you what it looked like before. It was basically just a hot mess of things. Nothing really had a designated place. Everything was kind of just thrown in there and yeah. Okay, so now that you saw what it looked like before, let's start cleaning it out. All right, so the first thing I did is I started taking everything out of the pantry. Every last thing that was thrown in there, stacked on top of each other, all the things. And I did try to categorize things. So on my island, I had all of my baking things, so flour, sugar, and a random sriracha bottle that was thrown in there. And then also put all the snacks together, all bottles of like oils and vinegars together, all the cans together, and then snacks together, breakfast foods together. Just tried to categorize things as much as I possibly could just to make my life easier when I go to put everything back. So for example, if I have a lot of snacks or a lot of canned goods, I need to have a larger space for them in my pantry. So I will have a little bit of a better idea of how I want to store them. Also during this time, anything that does not belong in the pantry. So for example, I had some liquor bottles and some medication like Tylenol or ibuprofen that actually go in a first aid kit kind of deal that I have in my linen closet. So I put all that stuff aside as well because I will not be putting that in my pantry. I also keep my cookbooks on the top shelf in here. So I took those down and put them on a separate table so I could go through them and declutter them, get rid of any cookbooks I wasn't using. Also found a random Miller High Life. What's up? But yeah, just continuing to empty out my pantry and just categorize everything. Also, I moved my trash can out of here, which I don't love having my trash can in my pantry, but it is so bulky that it doesn't really fit anywhere else. I do like this though because it has both the trash and the recycling in one, but I really hate having it in my pantry, but I'll get over it. If anyone has any good solutions, let me know in the comments. But yeah, just finishing getting everything out of here. And then I'm going to start vacuuming all the crumbs up and wiping everything down. And this wouldn't be a cleaning video if I didn't use my handy dandy Dyson handheld and my Mrs. Meyer Clean Day orange clove scent. If you've been here before and watched my cleaning videos before, you know that I'm secretly in love with, not even secretly, publicly in love with my Dyson handheld vac. So I'm using the brush attachment to get in all the nooks and crannies and just quickly getting everything up. This makes my life so much easier. I don't know how I would clean without that thing. Also, I started from the very top of the pantry and worked my way down. So I started in the kind of upper corner areas to make sure there were no cobwebs in there. And then of course, wiped down the walls and the top shelf, then moved down from there until I got to the floor. That way, if there are any crumbs or like I said, cobwebs or dust, they just continue to fall downwards. And then I can just vacuum everything up off the floor at the end. I also ended up busting out my magic eraser because there were some marks that some of the like baskets and boxes had left. So I used my good old handy dandy magic eraser to get that up and just scrubbed everything, all the walls, all the shelves. And I'm also getting the trim area, or the baseboard area, hitting it with my Dyson with that brush attachment, my favorite thing in the whole world, and just sucking everything up all the dust, all the cobwebs, anything and everything. And then I switched attachments and sucked up everything else off the floor and vacuumed everything up. I love this thing so much. Oh, okay, moving on. I am scrubbing the floor by hand. I really love to do this when I'm spring cleaning. Look how gross that rag is. Not embarrassing at all. I'm using the Method Squirt and Mop in the almond scent. It smells like magic. And I'm scrubbing my floors. I like to do this when I'm spring cleaning just because I can keep up with the maintenance afterwards with my mop, but nothing beats going in by hand. All right, so then I'm going in and cleaning the baseboards with the Mrs. Meyer's Orange Clove spray. And oh my gosh, the whole pantry smelled like actual heaven when this was over. It smelled so good. It was like a fall dream come true with orange clove and almond. Okay, anyways, moving on. So next I started putting things into containers and baskets, and I found this extra OXO container and figured I would use it to put my extra Taco Bell sauces in there, which you never know when you're gonna need these because sometimes they definitely skimp on the sauce, but they've been really hooking us up late. Well, we haven't gotten in a while, but they were hooking us up lately for a while. There. Anyways, this container here is from the Container Store, and I'm using it it's just an acrylic container, using it for snacks, Oreos, peanut butter cookies, my favorite things ever, which are Trolleys, and yeah, just all the sweets, all the deliciousness in one area. Okay, next up in this wire basket, which I got from Target a while back, I put all of my rice noodles. Rice noodles are kind of like regular noodles in this house because I have celiac disease, so I can't have wheat. But I have all different types. Thick ones, thin ones, clear ones, pad thai ones, spaghetti ones, all the different types of rice noodles. Enough to probably last a lifetime, but that's okay. In the other large wire basket from Target, I put all my chips. So tortilla chips and potato chips. And I usually put all the unopened bags in the back and any opened bags in the front. And they're super easy to grab. Next, I had these plastic containers that I got from Target a long time ago. I don't even remember, several years ago. And I use this for extra cleaning supplies. Also, Target bags, which I use to, when I bleach my hair, I use it instead of a shower cap, just a way to recycle them. So I fold the bags up to make them a little bit easier to store. It takes up way less space. Also in here, I have some ant baits. It is that time of year. And some Swiffer sweepers and dusters and some napkins that I've literally had for 10 years. Because we literally don't use napkins, but maybe we'll go on a picnic one day, who knows. The other box is my doggo box, so a lot of prescriptions. I had to get some backup prescriptions for my dog in case the vet has to close down or quarantine or whatnot. So I have some backups in there, and also some allergy meds, prednisone, things like that for emergencies. Also in here, what do I have? Snacks, treats, samples, heartworm medication. If it's dog related, it's in here. All right, next I started decluttering my cookbooks. I had quite a cookbook problem, but I did find some really good ones that I had almost forgotten about, like this one my mom made me. It has all of my great-grandma's and my family recipes in there, which is really good to go through and kind of nostalgic. So I started categorizing my books. I had a maybe pile that I was going to go through later, a no pile that I was going to donate, and the rest I started just categorizing into gluten-free. I had a lot of vegan cookbooks. I'm donating the ones I for sure know that I haven't been using at all or ever, but I did end up holding on to the ones that I wasn't for sure about because I'm going to pay more attention to which ones I'm actually using and which ones I'm not. I even thought about taking pictures of the recipes and then donating them so I don't actually have the book taking up the space, but I decided against it. Maybe I'll do that one day. I'm undecided. All right, so once these shelves are nice and dry, I start putting things back, and I start with all of my baking materials. So the dry goods, basically flour, sugar, cornstarch. What else do I have here? Oats. The taller containers have pasta, and one of them has rice. And this is the OXO brand container where you can get all these different shapes and sizes, but they stack up and they line up. So I was just kind of maneuvering them around and getting the layout I was wanting. I'll try to have as much as possible linked in the description box. So I'll put these OXO containers in there in case you're wanting to check them out. I also had some stainless steel containers you'll see here coming up that my husband and I had before we got married that were still in good condition. So I continued to use them. So I have those in here as well. And I put the taller containers in the back and the shorter ones in front is typically how I do it, or stack the shorter ones on top. And then a little bit later, I had a bunch of pancake mixes, cake mixes, that kind of thing. So I moved over the stainless steel containers and put all of my little cake mixes, the boxes, just lined them up right in between the dry goods. All right, so on the other side of this same shelf, I'm putting all of my snacks. So I have my chips, I also have some popcorn, and then of course my little sweets container with all my cookies and stuff. And then any cookies or crackers that are unopened, I just keep in a box and kind of stack them next to each other or line them up in some sort of way so they look fancy. Okay, next up, I busted out a couple of Lazy Susans, and these are both from Target. And this, by the way, is the shelf directly below the dry goods. So I have on one Lazy Susan, I have all of my vinegars and some sauces, and I have quite a few vinegars: red wine, white wine, balsamic, mirin, all that kind of stuff. Basically, I just want to make sure my insides are nice and pickled at this point. Between the alcohol and the vinegar, I'm sure I'm having no problems over here. All right, on the other Lazy Susan, I have all of my most used items. So olive oil, sesame oil, sriracha, cooking spray, that kind of stuff. All right, so next to my Lazy Susans, I actually decided last minute to put my canned goods here. They were on the other side, but this side of the shelf is actually wider, so I wanted to take full advantage of the space. So I sorted them by type, so spinach, green beans, peas, etc. And I put them on this little tiered, like little stair riser situation that I got from Home Goods. And let me tell you, this is a life changer. I had seen these before, but I was like, I don't need these. And I definitely did. Saved so much space. I want to get another one because I still had some canned goods that were kind of left in the corner. So this area here, it's a little breakfast nook that I wanted to do. And it was actually initially on the same shelf as the snacks. But when I moved the cans over, I decided to put a little breakfast area. So this area is now directly below the snack shelf. I have some little stackable shelves that I got from the Container Store a while back. And on the top shelf, I have granola, protein powder, and peanut butter. And on the bottom shelf, I have some bread and some little packaged oatmeal. And then, of course, I have some cereal, some chai tea latte. And I had some random space left over, so I thought, why not put my Taco Bell sauce here? So I did. Moving on to the bottom shelf, this kind of went through a couple different phases. I started off by putting the plastic containers on this side and then putting some drinks. So I had some tart cherry juice, some Gatorade, some Zing Zang, and then I also put some distilled vinegar in here. But this shelf, like I mentioned earlier, is not as wide as the other side, so the containers are kind of hanging over. So first on the other side, I put dog food. I have a couple different types because my dogs were experimenting with some stuff because they had some allergy situations. But then I ended up putting my KitchenAid mixer and then moving the plastic bins over to this side so they didn't hang over the edge. And that worked out a little bit better in my opinion. I also stacked up a couple boxes. It's like extra parchment paper and some extra Ziploc baggies. And in that back corner, you'll see I have some back stock, so some sriracha and cooking spray, that kind of stuff, which I hope to have a container for one of these days when it's safe to go out. So the top shelf, I ended up putting my cookbooks back in the same place I had them before. It was working before, so didn't want to change it, but I did change how I organized them. I did a whole Roy G. Biv situation. If you know, you know. And these were all the ones that made the cut. There's still quite a bit here, but I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to which ones I'm using daily and which ones I'm not really liking the recipes of or don't really reach for, that kind of thing. So on the other side of the top shelf, I put some paper towels back in the corner. And then everything up here is mainly backstock. So I had some backstock baking goods that are in the wooden bins, which are from Target. I got those a couple months ago, so not too long ago. So I'll link them in the description if you're into them. And then, of course, my other bin with all of the noodles. All right, so here's what the pantry looked like before we got it nice and cleaned out and organized. Yeah, it was pretty bad. And here is what my pantry looked like after. And yeah, if I had to be really particular, there were a couple things that like I want some more of those little riser things and maybe a couple more containers to make it look a little bit more cohesive. But overall, I'm not mad about it. I just feel good to have it done. Feels good to walk in my pantry now and be able to find everything. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video and it gave you some inspiration to maybe, I don't know, clean or organize, maybe not even your pantry. Maybe you're just cleaning today or looking to take on a new project. So speaking of which, in the comments, let me know what space you're working on right now, if any at all, and how you're doing out there, all that kind of stuff. So I'll continue to show some before and after clips, but other than that, I'm gonna say goodbye here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.